Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight. Never run from a real fight. She's the one named Sailor Moon. And she can give you some branding tips for your social media. Welcome to Coffee with me, myself, and Ivy, where I give you social media tips, communication industry best practices with pop culture examples. I'm Ivy. I'm just a PR pro, feeding my coffee addiction and sharing with you some things I have learned along the way. Before we discuss how to brand your business on social media with tips from Sailor Moon, let's start off with a motivational quote because it's 2020 and this year has been pretty rough. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you need to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace to that great actor. So Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon, we're going to specifically talk about the anime because I'm a 90s kid and that's why I remember. I just discovered there was a manga recently and there's a big difference. So we're only going to talk about the anime. But basically, it's just this teenager who's actually doesn't know she's from another universe. She cries all the time, but apparently when she finds out that she is a very powerful creature, she can transform into a superhero that fights evil. Also, she loves some guy named Tuxedo Mask, but they both go to the same school, but he doesn't notice that it's the same person because she just takes off parts of her costume, whatever. And also along the way, she meets different women with different powers that are also from this other universe and they like to fight evil. I'm not going to even get that deep into the show. If you want to learn more about the show, watch this video over here because it breaks down the timeline. It breaks down things that they apparently censored from my childhood in the English version. But you let us watch Ren and Stimpy. I don't understand. And there was very inappropriate jokes in Rocko's Modern Life. I really don't understand. But they censored the American version a lot. So to learn more about Sailor Moon, watch this video. However, what we're going to take from Sailor Moon is her brand voice, brand tone, and the visual branding and how that can help you on your social media. So let's get started. So let's talk about visual branding. Sailor Moon's visual branding is so memorable that I remember her brand look, the colors, the symbols to this day. I tried to watch the show recently. I'm sorry, Sailor Moon, aka Serena, cries too much and gets on my nerves. But the cats on there are cool. But I just can't. It didn't age well for me. I'm an 80s baby, 90s kid. I can't watch it. However, the fact that I remember her visual branding to this day, and I do not watch this show over and over again, says a lot, and I think it's beneficial for your business. So Sailor Moon has a certain uniform. She has moon symbols, and it's something about knowing your visual brand before you get on social media. So if your business already has visual branding, the logo, the color scheme, and it's on your website, your business card, your brochures, make sure that same visual branding is on your social networks. All right, let's get to the reason why I made this video. So you have your visual branding right. It's on your website. It's on your main social media account. If your business creates secondary accounts for the different services, or if you're a college campus and you have different campuses, please make sure that same visual branding is consistent across the different networks. Make sure on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the LinkedIn, the TikTok, the whatever, your visual branding is consistent across the networks. There are many times I want to feature a business in some social media content, and usually it's their secondary location, and that different location social media presence does not match the main social media account's presence. So in this day and age where it's not common for people to try to scam people on social media or pretend to be someone else, you may not want to tag an account that you're unsure is actually associated with the main account in your social media content. Now, the loophole to this is you can always put the main account social media handle and put dash that location's name. But this is why I made this video. I see so many entrepreneurs, so many restaurants are, even college campuses may have multiple accounts dedicated to their brand, but it doesn't look the same. It doesn't sound the same. And it makes me say, never mind, I'll go somewhere else. So how does this tie to Sailor Moon? Well, Sailor Moon has Sailor Scouts to help her fight evil. There's Sailor Venus, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Mars, and Sailor Jupiter. And they have secret powers as well, just like Sailor Moon. And though they are different and have different secret powers, they all look the same, and we know they all hang out with Sailor Moon. So take that same tip that you can have a different social media presence, probably promoting a different service, but it still looks like the main account. It's still the Sailor Scouts still look like Sailor Moon. So just make sure your visual branding is consistent across the board. So you may not miss out on an opportunity, a potential customer. Just make sure it's consistent across the board, please. So we talked about visual branding. We talked about how to be consistent with your visual branding. Let's talk about knowing your brand's voice and tone. So with Sailor Moon, even though she has the Sailor Scouts, we have her fighting evil, winning love, etc. On the actual show, she's kind of very comical, humorous. She gets on my nerves because she cries too much. But we know for sure, even though there's different Sailor Scouts, they have their different personalities. They all have the same look, and they all have the same goal of fighting evil and eventually getting a boyfriend, like Tuxedo Mask. So before you start a social media account on many different networks and you have your visual branding down packed and it's consistent across the social networks, know your brand voice and know your brand tone. So your brand voice is basically how you communicate with your audience. It's your brand's personality, but your tone is, are you professional? Are you comical like Wendy's? Are you warm or positive? So your brand voice is how you communicate, but your brand tone is what style you're communicating with. I like this video right here. She explains it better. Also, I also like there's articles from Buffer and Sprout Social that also explains brand voice and brand tone. If you made this far in the video, make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment below about other 90s cartoons that we can get some social media branding tips from. Okay, so we know visual branding. We know to be consistent with the visual branding. And we also know the brand voice and tone. But now let's talk about something that I even need to work on. Please switch up your messaging format for the different social networks. So for example, if you post content on Facebook and Twitter or Instagram, you can't post that content, that messaging, the same format. Because if you do that, you may miss out on an audience. So just like with the Sailor Scouts, they have different powers. They're still fighting evil, but they have different powers. But they have different powers, aka different formats, to fight that evil. So same message. Just switch up how you format it. You can't post the same content format on Facebook as you do on Twitter. I even work on this. So please switch up your messaging format on different social networks. Though you may switch up your messaging format for the different social networks, do not change your brand's voice or tone. Please don't change your brand's voice or tone. Best example of this, if you're trying to reach Generation Z on TikTok, and on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, you're very professional or warm. When you get on TikTok, do not sound like a Travis Scott song ad-lib to reach Generation Z. They're going to see right through that. They really will. I don't want to hear it in your content. If you never said this on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, it's lit. Don't do it on TikTok because you want to reach Generation Z. Please don't do that. So, for example, if you're on LinkedIn and you're very warm and nurturing and positive, when you get to TikTok, TikTok is still here. When you get to TikTok, don't try to be Wendy's. Wendy's has a very sassy and humorous tone. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be your true self across all social networks. So again, the Sailor Scouts are very different. They have different powers. They have different personalities. But guess what they do every time they fight evil? They keep that same brand, voice, and tone. They continue to be quirky, comical. They still say some corny lines every now and then. However, they keep that same brand, voice, and tone every time they're fighting evil and winning love by daylight. I would sing the whole song, but I don't want to do that to you. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and join me every week for social media tips, communication industry best practices with pop culture examples. Remember, keep your peace.